I am in beautiful Cancun, Mexico. If you've never come here, you should really try it. I remember the first time I came, I thought, oh my God. When I saw the airport, I thought, oh, it's going to be like Las Vegas or Tijuana or just nothing like that. It's absolutely beautiful. But I'm not here on vacation. I am a tourist, but I am a dental tourist. Have you ever heard of such a thing? I have not been to a dentist in the United States in about 8 years. I have been going to dentists in Peru and in Mexico for those 8 years to get teeth cleaning and checkups. And the reason is I view dentists in New York City in particular, possibly all through the United States, but especially New York City, as either on the same level or one step above a pirate. I've had so many experiences where, I'm not a dentist, I'm not a professional, but even I know that they're trying to push things on me that I don't need. Oh my God, you need all those wisdom teeth out. Why? Why? Because they're going to cause you a problem when someday, or you need all your gums cut. I don't have bleeding gums. I have no problem like that, but you need all your gums cut. So I've done my best to stay away from them. But I woke up about a week and a half ago with the first toothache I think I've ever had in my life. I say I think because I just don't remember having another toothache. I have pretty good tusks for the most part. I haven't had any major problems as an adult. I've had very few cavities, so usually the tooth cleaning is all I really need. But this day I had a toothache, and I suspected something was going to be happening because I had some sensitivity there for a while, and on this day something did happen. And since I was in the United States and with no plans to be out of the United States, I said, what am I going to do? I got to do. So I looked up like emergency dentist, and a lot of the regular dentists also say, for an emergency, call and we'll try to fit you in. And these, I'm not going to mention their name, these dentists near my office did graciously make some time for me. So I went in and had a consultation. The consultation cost $150, which was, okay. And they said, well, you need to have one tooth extracted, and then an implant and a crown. Oh, really? Okay, fine. So how much is that going to be? Oh, we'll give you an estimate at the front desk. So I went out to the front desk and I asked the girl, do you have the estimate? And she said, oh, yes, here it is, and folded it up and put it in an envelope because I think she was simply mortified at the idea of telling me in person how much this cost. So I get out on the street and I open the envelope and I read the price, and I nearly keeled over. $9,668 for one tooth. I have so many things I could spend that $9,000 on. Old plane tickets, for example, to very exotic places. I was telling people, even if I had $1 million in cash sitting right in front of me, I still wouldn't pay those pirates their ransom. So I said, well, Mexico. I'm going to let me take a look at Mexico. I did not really realize dental tourism was such a huge industry here, but it certainly is. There are clinics all through Cancun, Playa del Carmen, all down the Maya Riviera. There's a huge one across the border from Yuma, Arizona, in a place called Los Algodones. I'll bet they have them in Cabo San Lucas, probably anywhere you go that's close to your part of the United States. Cancun, for me, is super easy. It's a 3.5 hour flight. It's an hour from Florida, maybe an hour and a half. So I decided to come here. I contacted the people thinking, by the way, the ones in New York, I said, well, when can we do this? And they said, well, first you need the professional consultation. I wanted to say, then what the hell was this? Was this an unprofessional consultation? Why do we need another consultation? But I needed another, the professional consultation, which was going to cost $335. So with $150 and $335, we're getting close to $500 before they ever touched a tooth. I said, well, when is this going to happen? They said June 17th. I'm like, it's June, what day did I go there? I went there May 31st. I'm like, it hurts now. Oh no, oops, you see that frigate bird just flew by. They said, oh no, you need to, we'll give you some antibiotics. That'll make the pain go away until then. Okay, fine. So I decide to, I'm gonna come to Cancun. So I got a flight for $250, a little bit over $250, so about $100 more than the unprofessional consultation, the first one. I got my hotel here for $381 for 4 nights rather than the $335 professional consultation. Look at my hotel. Let me bring this over a little bit for you. Can you see there's the Caribbean? I don't know if you can see the pool down there. Anyway, it's really beautiful. I've been here before. I like this hotel. I've been here, this is I think my 3rd or 4th time here. So, yeah, the hotel for 4 nights and the airfare cost just about the same as the 2 consultations in New York. The tooth extraction in New York was going to be $625. Let me tell you some of the prices here. I went to a place called Cancun Dental Specialists, and for the 1 consultation there, including all the x-rays and talking to this very nice dentist, that cost me $80. The extraction for the tooth, $625 in New York, $60 here. So, oh, see, look at that dark cloud. You know, last night it rained and this beautiful rainbow all over, just beautiful. We don't get that view from the dental offices in New York, I guess. So, yeah, so I come down, I decide to come down. Very simple. Yeah, they had like a chat on their website. So I started chatting with the guy, and he's like, and I was like, I really want to come down soon. I want to wait till June 17th. He's like, oh yeah, tell us when you want to come. So I told him next week, Tuesday. And he said, I think I said Friday. I don't remember, but he suggested, why don't you come on Tuesday and stay for 4 days, because you don't know what kind of procedures you're going to need. Well, staying 4 days in Cancun is not a burden. So yeah, no problem at all. So I did that. I went in for the consultation. And the woman shows me the x-rays, and she says, look on the x-ray. You see this is the molar you do need taken out. And behind it is a wisdom tooth. That is useless. You've never used it in your life. There's no tooth below it to chew, so you've never chewed with it. It's going to just be there without that molar. So we suggest you have that out too for $60. Now, you absolutely know, or I do, I know that once I got into the chair at the professional consultation, they would have said the same thing. Oh, you need that wisdom tooth out too. So that would have been another $625. So that would have been $1,200. Let's see, yeah, that would have been $1,250 for the 2 extractions versus the $120 for the 2 extractions here. In fact, in the treatment plan in New York, they actually say during treatment it may be necessary to change or add procedures due to conditions found while working on your teeth. Payment for services rendered will be due at the time of service. In other words, we may find new things to do beyond the $10,000. You know damn well that's what they would have been. So yeah, I said $10,000 because I added the for sure wisdom tooth 625 to the 9,668, which brings the grand total in New York to 10,293. They did the 2 extractions here, and then they did something called a bone graft. I do not know what that means, but it was something to strengthen the bone. It's something that bonds with the bone to make it strong, and that was the most expensive at $350 per tooth. So the total here for what I've had done is $900. They said, like New York, they said, now you may want the implant and the crown. And if you do, you have to come back, the 2 times, like I said before. And then she says, but why don't you live with it for a while? You may find that you don't need it or want it. You may not find that it might not be a problem. I'm trying to imagine, I'm trying to envisage a moment in New York, or maybe even the United States, when a dentist would say you don't need to have something done. Can't imagine it happening. I see this tusk here? This is my little vampire tooth right there. This was a little crooked. And I've been always a little self-conscious of it, even though, honestly, I've never heard, no one's ever said, well, my God, look at that crooked tooth. Or no one has ever, if they do, they don't say anything. Maybe you've all thought, oh, Jesus Christ, look at that tooth. But I said, well, what do you think about that? Is there something that could be done? And she's like, oh, sure, yeah, you could have a cap put on it, and that means I guess they file it down and then put a cap, and then she says, but can I be honest? She says, has this ever given you a problem? I said, no. She says, why would you do that? Why don't you just leave it alone? It's perfectly fine the way it is. All right, now let's talk about bedside manner, shall we? The dentists in New York were very nice, I have to admit. I give them credit for that. Here, they picked me up at the airport. They took me to their office for the consultation. After the consultation, they brought me to my hotel. The next day, I was going to have the procedure, so they picked me up at the hotel. They bring me in. I have never had a tooth extracted before. Maybe I did with baby teeth or something, I just don't remember, but the thought of it, just losing a tooth was just, oh my God. And they could tell I was a little bit squeamish about it, so they gave me a Xanax. Now, I have never, I don't do Xanaxes and stuff, so I thought they were supposed to make you relax. This one just made me talk a lot. What a surprise. So I go in, and this was a guy, the surgeon was a guy, and he gave me Novocaine and did it, and I had not a bit of pain. So a guy was there afterward. They said, okay, he's going to take you back to your hotel, but we have some prescriptions for you for antibiotics and for painkillers. And so he took me to the pharmacy. I picked up the painkillers and the antibiotics. The painkillers were not opioids, by the way. I checked on that. They did make me tired, though, and that did make me tired, so I stopped. And I have never had a bit of pain, even when the Novocaine wore off, nothing. And the antibiotics that I'm still taking. They had also told me, you should be only eating cold and soft foods. You don't want to be having anything hot or, tough. So this guy takes me to a supermarket. He comes in with me. He carries the basket while I go around and buy yogurt and bananas and that sort of thing. Then he took me back to the hotel. He brings me into the hotel and escorted me up to my room to make sure I was okay, because I had been on that Xanax. I mean, really, it's unbelievable. And then they called the day after to see how I was doing. And then this morning I received a call asking when my plane was leaving tomorrow morning. And I told them, and they are sending someone to pick me up to bring me to the airport. That's the service I got here in Cancun. I've talked to a few people who, I think the sticking point, the big problem for most people is Mexico, because they're not familiar with Mexico, or our media has turned Mexico into an absolute nightmare, the most dangerous country on the planet, as if, you step over the border and you will be beheaded. Oh, honestly, yes, there are some very dangerous parts of Mexico, but you're not going to go there. You're going to go to Cancun, or you're going to go to Cabo San Lucas. And I love it that, the people who, I would never go there, live in Chicago, where 50 people get shot every weekend. It's just, look at the statistics. Yes, again, okay, there might be a murder in Cancun, and it's huge news because it's a murder in Cancun. But again, it's not New York City, it's not Chicago or LA or Minneapolis or anyway. The second thing is, what about, is it sterile? Is it clean? As if they do this dental work in a donkey barn. It is clean. It's wonderful. I mean, at the dentist office, I couldn't tell. Once I was sitting in that chair, if you told me I was anywhere in the first world, if I was in New York City, I would have believed it. It looked exactly the same. I mean, it was perfectly clean, perfectly sterile, perfectly fine. Everyone speaks English, everyone, because all their clients are Americans. Now, let me tell you about a few of them. I had to have one tooth out, and I came here mostly because I was stubborn and I was not going to pay those pirates ransom. I just wasn't. They could make me walk the plank, and I wasn't going to do it. These guys, and they're mostly guys, came almost out of desperation. One guy told me he saved $60,000. He was going to have to take a second mortgage out on his house to pay for what the estimate was up in where he lived. He lived in Florida. So for him it's an hour and a half flight down here. He did have to pay maybe $15,000-$20,000 here, as opposed to the $80,000 that he was quoted. Somebody else told me he saved $30,000. I mean, these people are, first of all, they had to have a lot of work done, very extensive, all their teeth removed, and implants, and crowns, and probably all of them have dental insurance. Many people have dental insurance, which again, what does that mean? I've known very few people who had dental insurance that would cover that kind of work. Mostly it's enough for an office visit. That's the way it is. It's separate from health insurance, and I do think it's, and the other thing, I love this too. Well, you need to understand about the dentists in New York. They have high rents, and they have really high college loans they have to pay. I don't give a shit. It's not my problem. Why should I have to pay for it? You chose to be a dentist, so you deal with that. And why is your office on Park Avenue? It doesn't matter if it's on Park Avenue, even if it's in some crappy place. It's still a terrible, terrible price that they charge. Anyway, so the entire bill here for this, the work I had done, was $900. And that is assuming I don't have the implants. Like I said, they're like, well, if you want to have the implants, you can. If you don't, that's okay too. So, I'll take the next few months. If I do get the implant, that will be a $900, again, another $900 for the implant part, and then $600 for the crown. So the whole thing would come to $2,400 versus $10,293, assuming that they didn't find more to do in New York, which they would do. They would, so God knows, 15,000. Anyway, I'm not any kind of dentist, so I can't, I can recommend you come here, but, that you have to make that decision yourself, and you should look into it. If you or someone you know has extensive work and they're putting it off because of the price, look into this. I will put comments down below, and I'll guide you to the right places, or to the place I went to, or at least how to look into it. Because I have not one regret, nothing. There's not a single part of this that I would say, oh, I wish this was different, or I wish. In fact, they were so far beyond what I expected. The escorting me all around, the personal attention, the caring, the checking in to see if I was okay, if I hadn't bled to death overnight. So, I think I'm really happy with my tusks, and I'm happy with what they did. And if I ever have anything more, even something small, I'm getting on a plane, and I am coming to Cancun. So I'm going to urge you to do the same.